everyone, so excited to have you guys all with me today. It is Sunday, August 26th, 2018 at about 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be posting this video to the group when the live is finished in case you missed anything or you joined in late. So if I missed any of your questions, you'll be able to comment on that thread and you'll be able to do all that. I'm going to go over a few things with you guys just to make sure we have a couple people watching. This video, first of all, has been admin approved, so I want to make sure that we know that. Live videos aren't allowed in the group, so it has been admin approved. If you are watching this video after today, August 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern, it will no longer be live, so do put your comments in the thread of the post afterwards. What I want to focus most on today in this thread is attach, weld, slice, and contour. We're going to get to as much as we can, but just in case we don't cover everything, I'm going to do my best that I can to focus mostly on our layers panel right over here in the bottom right. Now, for those of you who may have a difficult time seeing my mouse cursor, if you see that little right there, I'm going to be using that so that it will help you to focus. I'm going to go as slow as I can to make sure that everybody has an easy time following along. But like I said, this video will be posted to the group after, so if you want to take notes now and view again later, or view now and take notes later, it's up to you guys. So I am going to start with just a little bit of information quickly. Right down here in the bottom left is your zoom. You can zoom in and out on your screen. So what I'm going to do is just show you that quickly. That's great for if you're doing something really big or something really small. So what I want to show you right up here in the left corner, right here, this little box, if you hit it, your guides can go on and off. That's a really great thing to know. So what I'm going to do first is just start off. I'm going to go over to the shapes. I'm going to pull up a couple shapes and we're going to work with the attach feature first. I'm going to just do some circles. And I'm going to go right over here to the duplicate on the top of my layers panel. And this is your layers panel right over here, right where it says layers. So when I reference that, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use the duplicate key just to make it a little easier on me instead of having to keep going to shapes and press a circle. So I'm going to kind of spread them all out to make it a little easier. And I want to show you guys, if I put two circles together, you can see where they're overlapping. And if I select them both and I go down to the attach button right here, you can see that it attached them together. But here's the thing, if you go to cut them out, it's going to cut out both circles. So that is something that you really want to pay attention to with the attach feature, is if you want it to cut out like that, that's great. But that's not really what you want to do if you only want to cut the circles like this. So another great thing, we can go back here and I'll detach these. Another great thing is if I want to make something, and say I want to have this circle, I can go over here in my layers panel and I can change it to a different color. I'm just going to pick pink, it's right here. And say I want purple. And I'm going to make this one purple too. Now, if I want to cut these all out and I don't want the placement to move, watch what happens when, I'm going to make this pink too, so it's a little easier to see. What I'm going to do is select them all, and if I select attach, they all turn one color. So if we'll go up here to the undo button. And if you only want to attach your purples together so that they don't move, we're going to go over here and select a purple one in our layers panel. And I'm going to hold the control key on my keyboard and I'm going to select the other purple one and I'm going to go down and hit the attach button. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the pink ones. I'm going to hold my control key, select it, and then go to attach. Now you'll see when we go to make it, We still have some gray ones on our screen, but our pink and our purple are in their positions. So now I want to show you guys just a little bit with some text using the attach feature. I'm just going to be using all Cricut fonts, so that way you guys can follow along very easily. Now I'm going to blow it up a little so you guys have an easier time of seeing it. So we're going to go, and I'm going to change it to the Babette font. I know it's a Cricut font and I know it's a cursive font, and that's what I really want to show you guys today, is what happens with your cursive fonts. So you'll notice how the letters are not connecting. Cricut Design Space is built to cut individually. So it's set up that way to do that. So what we want to do is go right up here to our letter spacing, and we're going to slowly bring our letters together by reducing the letter space in between each one. Now you'll see how they're close together. Now if we go down and we attach it, it looks like it's all together. But when we go to the Make It screen, you're going to see, which also you can zoom in on your mat here, you can see how the letters aren't actually really connected here. They're just kind of pieced side by side. So it's going to cut out your letters piece by piece. And that's not what you want when you're doing cursive. You want it to cut all around and keep your letters all together. So that is going to bring us to the Weld feature. Now I already have this attached, so I can go over and I can click Weld, and it's already in place, so I can do that. So now I'm going to show you the difference between that, and we'll go back to our Make It and do our mat. We're going to again zoom in right here, and now you can see how our letters are all connected. They're not just side by side butted up against each other, and that's really great. So I'm going to go back again, and I just want to show you a little thing that sometimes happens when you're using the letter spacing. We're just going to do undo. If you weld something and then save it, you can't undo it. So what I really like to do is go over here, duplicate it, and then I like to just use the little eye feature right here, you can see it, to hide it. That way if I save this project and I want to edit in the future, it's going to make it a lot easier for me to go ahead and edit it. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to, let me start over with this so I can show you. We're going to use the Babette font again. It's already selected for me. And again, I'm going to go to my letter spacing. Now, the Babette font works really, really well. So I don't really have to do anything besides the letter spacing. But sometimes you're not going to have, them get this close together this easily. So what you can do is go right up here to the top of your layers panel and ungroup. What I like to do first is use my letter spacing to get them as close as I possibly can, and then I'll ungroup and start moving them together closer. I think that just makes it so much easier. And we have a question. No, you do not have to attach before welding. That was just an easy transition since we had already done that, but you can just go right like this and hit weld. But since we already had it attached, we just welded it. But you do not need to attach before welding. So now that you can see, I ungrouped these. I have all individual letters. So I could go ahead and use the keys on the arrow keys on my keyboard and move these letters closer together. Or you can use your X and Y positions right up here at the top of your screen to move them a little closer together. It's up to you. I'm gonna see if we can figure this out here. So I'm gonna go ahead and weld it. Do a little closer. I'm trying to show you guys something. So I'm trying to move these a little too close. No, it's not working for me here. Okay, sometimes what happens if you move your letters too close together, the insides of your E, or in this case it would be the E, the L's, and the O, when you weld them together, sometimes if they're too close, it's going to fill in your letters. So if that is an issue that you're having, that is because your letters are too close together when you welded. So you want to, you can keep, like I said, you can undo, or also that's why I do like to do a duplicate and save it and hide it before I go ahead and do any welding or any changes like that. That way it's much easier to see. Okay, we're gonna see, really want to see if we can show you guys that. So let me move this a little bit closer. I feel like some of the Cricut fonts don't do that as much as regular fonts. So I'm just going to grab one of my regular fonts just to show you guys. So it won't be able to, you may not have this font to follow along, but you will be able to, you'll just have this information just in case that does happen to you. We have another question. In this example, the L's have a long tail. Could you remove the end that overlaps into the O? You definitely can. You could go ahead and slice it off. Usually most fonts connect pretty nicely. Some fonts already have extra glyphs and stuff like that, so you could go ahead and slice those off before you move them closer together, and that will be really helpful for when welding. So, oh, we have another question. Can you attach letters together all at once, or group two letters and attach them, add third, attach, so on? You sure can. You can group together and attach. Sometimes I do that. Usually what I'll do is, actually I'll show you in this example, I'm going to ungroup this, and sometimes, you know what, let me first do my letter spacing because I do prefer to do that. Use your letter spacing to pull everything a little bit closer together. And then you'll notice I want some stuff a little bit closer together. So I'm going to ungroup this, and then I can select just the L and the O here, and I can manually move it. I can use my arrow keys. It's up to you. I like to just kind of, like I just did, where you just only select these two and move it, but you could attach it and move it. It's up to you. I just like to do it that way. It's less steps, in my opinion. So let me see if I got these close enough together to fill in that O for you. Nope. Yeah, the Cricut fonts go together much nicer than downloaded fonts. All right, that's not working out too well. So let's see. All right, so that's just a tip to let you know. If you do have your insides fall in, your insides of your E's, your L's, your O's fill in, it is because your letters are too close together. So you can just undo it and space them out a little bit more. So now I want to show you with the weld. See, these are still attached. So I'm going to go over in my layers panel and detach them. And I'm going to do that here too. So what I'm going to do is just to show you the difference here, I'm going to attach the purple ones together, and then I'm going to weld the pink ones together. That way when we go to make it, you can already see the difference here, but when we go to make it, you'll have a better visual on that. So you can see how it's just going to cut all around, because welding makes two objects one, whereas attaching just holds them together. So you'll see this is going to cut out, and now you can't see the back of this one, but if we go back, I can detach these. I am going to move this. I'm going to use the arrange button up here and move it to the front. And then I'm going to select these both and attach it. And you can see it's the same thing. That way it gives you a better visual on just, see, it's going to cut out both circles. So now I want to focus on the slice feature with you guys. This is a really cool feature when you want to do any number of things. So I'm going to show you a few things today and what we can do with slice. So say I wanted a smaller circle cut out of this bigger circle. I'm going to first select them both. I'm going to go up here to my align tool, and I'm going to align them center horizontally, and I'm going to align and center vertically. And then I'm going to slice. Now you can only slice 2 layers at a time. So if it's not slicing, that could be why. If you have more than 2 layers. Now when you're doing a text, you'll need to weld that text if you want to slice it out. So now you can just remove the pieces that you don't want after you hit slice, and you have your circle cut out of another circle. And something that I really like that a lot of people don't know, we're going to detach this so I can show you quickly, is instead of needing to slice text, you can go ahead, I'm going to put this back to Cricut Sans to make it a little easier. You don't have to slice your text. You can go ahead, select both, and attach. Now it's going to all turn one color, but that's okay because when you go to make it, you'll be able to see right here, it's going to cut your words right out. So there is no need to slice. All right, we have another question. Will it cut them as circles or as a circle and a crescent when you attach? It's going to cut both circles out entirely if they are attached together. So it's going to end up leaving your circle kind of like a, it's going to cut it right here. So it's going to cut this part and this part out. That makes sense. I do have a visual on that I can share in the post after I post this video, after the live is over. I'll post that visual between the difference between attach and weld. I think it's a much better visual once it's cut. But we'll go back to the slice. So you don't have to use the slice feature to cut your text out of a shape. So that is a really great thing to know. You can just attach it. And that's also really great if you later want to change the words and you just want to go back and add to it or whatever. It's not a permanent thing. You can just go back, you can click detach, and you can remove your words and you're good. So that is really great to know. And one thing I did want to show you guys too that I forgot about in Weld. If you weld your text together, which is what I just did, you'll notice over here, it doesn't tell us what the font is anymore. If I unhide my font from earlier, it shows right here, text Babette, because I only attached it. But once you weld, that goes away. So what you can do is select your little color right here in your layers panel, go right up to see image information, and it will tell you selected font, Cricut Sans. So that's a really great thing to know too, in case you forgot to duplicate and hide it before you welded and you really like that font and you forget what it was. You can go back and use it for another project, which is something I really love to do. I find myself using a lot of the same fonts because I really love them. Okay, so now I want to show you one of my absolute favorite features about Design Space, Contour. What I'm going to do first is actually select all of this, and I'm going to go up here and group it. The group feature is just to hold everything all together, and I really like to do this when I'm working with a lot of different things. I group them and hide them so that I'll have them in one place, and then I can just unhide it and ungroup it and go back to it. So what I'm going to do for the contour feature, I am going to go over to my images over here, and Cricut just added a ton of new images to Cricut Access, and I'm so excited about it. A lot of them are black and white, solid color, so it's really exciting. So we're going to go over to categories right up here, and they have recently added right here, and we're going to select that. Now, one of the great things about Contour is it's going to hide cut lines, and it's going to allow us to customize things that we may look at and think, oh, this is perfect. We're going to pick this one. I'm going to show you guys quickly if you have access. The number is M7168452. That way, if you guys want to follow along and use the same image, it's a little easier to find. I'll also include that number in my post after I finish the live. So I'm going to insert the image. Now this is a really, really cute image, but say that I wanted to do this in multiple colors. What I can do first is go up here and ungroup it. And you'll notice that the heart is the only thing that is a separate piece. This is all one piece, the wording. So what I'm going to do is put it over to the right-hand side. I'm going to go up to the duplicate, and I'm going to put it over here to the left. This is the way I like to do it because I think it really makes it much more visual, and it makes it a lot easier for me to see what I'm doing to make sure I'm hitting all the right things. Now I'm going to go over here in the bottom right of our layers panel, and I'm going to click contour. And this is going to allow me to remove any pieces that I don't want. So I'm going to show you guys. It just removed stay for us. So I'm going to go back to contour, and I'm going to remove this. And now I can take this, and I like to set it usually right over this one so that in the end, everything's going to be in the same place. And I'm going to go over to my layers panel, and I'm going to change it. We'll say just blue. And that way it's still lined up. And then I'm going to go back to my original image. I'm going to go up to duplicate, and again move it over to my left side so that when I'm doing the contour I can make sure I am cutting or deleting the right spaces. So I'm going to remove this. And another thing is you don't have to duplicate your original one. That's just really how I like to do it. I'll show you what else you can do. I'm going to make this purple. And I can go ahead and duplicate this one, move it over to the side, and then go back to my contour button. And I'm going to select the A because that's the only one we don't have. And I'm going to select that first. I'll show you why. So if I do this, it's only going to leave these inside pieces, and it's not going to allow me to contour that last piece out because it needs at least one thing there. So if I do the A, then it will allow me to contour this last piece out. So then I can go back to my original line up here, and I'm going to change this. We'll just do pink. And then I can take my original right over here, and I'm going to go up to my arrange button, and I'm going to move it to the front. That way I can see everything as it is. And then I can delete this one because I don't need it. And that's how you can use the contour, and you can just customize things to your liking. And I can go ahead and I can change this one. I'll do this purple. And then in my layers panel, I can, while stay is selected because that's purple, I'm going to hold the control key on my keyboard, and I'm going to select the heart, and I'm going to attach it. This is just going to make it much easier when I go to layer it. I can lay it all down much more easily. Okay, so what I want to show you next, we'll just talk a little bit about group. We have the group feature right here. I'm going to move this. This allows us to keep everything together. Think of it like a shopping bag. You put everything in there, it's still going to jumble around, but it allows you to move it from point A to point B. So now if I ungroup it and say I change all of this to, we'll change all of it to purple. When I go to make it, you're going to see my words, everything's kind of all over the place. So if I go back and I group it all, it's still all over the place. That's because it's just letting me move it from point A to point B without causing too much of a fuss. But if we wanted to stay all in the same place, we would go ahead and attach it. If we go to make it, you can see everything is just where we wanted it to. And for the purple, like I had it before, if we just attach the purples together, that keeps just the purples in place. Like I said, attach at the beginning. That's how it is. And don't forget that I am live right now, but I will be posting this video to the group afterwards. So if you missed anything or you want to go back and rewatch it and take some notes, you can go ahead and watch it right after the live, and I'll be sure to post it. Now I want to talk to you too about one of my other favorite features, the Align tool. I'm going to go ahead and detach this. The Align tool right up here, I have it grouped too. I'm going to ungroup it. The align tool is one of my favorite features. It really, I cannot center anything or keep anything straight for my life. So I like to go up here to the align tool, and I like to center this. See how it shifted all around? In a few minutes. And it's shifted all around because I don't have any of these pieces attached together. So I'm going to go up here on the left to undo, and I'm going to attach this heart to while. I'm just going to attach them together, and I'm going to attach stay. Nope, stay and the heart were already attached. So we have stay, the heart, and while attached. So I'm going to go ahead and select it all. I'm going to go back up to align, and I'm going to center it horizontally. See, it's still doing that with my A. So what I want to do is go ahead and detach. Oops, let me go back and move that A where it was. And then I'm going to go back to all of these pieces, and I'm going to detach everything from itself. We've got stay, and you can see up here too on your layers panel, right up here, it will tell you if you have anything attached or grouped or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and detach it, and I'm going to attach the while and the heart together, and I'm going to attach stay and the A together, and then I'm going to select it all and go back up to the align tool, and I'm going to center horizontally. Oh, it's still moving it all around on us. We've got pieces a little too close together. But let's see, we'll do some text. And we're going to do a couple text boxes. That way, sometimes if you want to use different fonts, you do need different text boxes for different fonts. So we're going to do that, and I'm just going to again, I'm just going to use all Cricut fonts, and I'm just going to pick, I'm trying not to do cursive ones so it's much easier for you guys to see. And we're going to size it down a little bit. All right, we have another question. Where does it tell you if you have things grouped or attached? Right over here in your layers panel. Let me size this down really quickly. This is really wide, so it's hard for me. So I'm going to go right up here at the top, and I'm going to just size it way down to make it a little bit easier for me to reach. So for us to find out if stuff's attached, right over here in your layers panel at the top, you can see this one just says text and the name of the text. But if you have stuff attached, you'll be able to see it says attach right here. Right here it says group because I have this section grouped. And if you have a text welded, it will say welded. So now I have these 3 layers of text here. So I'm going to select them just by dragging my mouse around, and I'm going to go back up to my align feature, and I'm going to center horizontally, and that's going to make sure everything is nicely in place. Now if you want to attach it all together and make it the same color, you can, or you can select your like colors and attach, and then you'll just have to go ahead and layer it. All right, these are the most of the basics for Design Space. Just to help you get set up, there's some tips and tricks in here. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully we can do another video another time, and we'll be able to focus on a few more features like the print and cut and the flatten feature. But that's all for today. So I'm going to go ahead and post this video. If you want to review it or ask any questions on that thread that I may not have already gotten to, please feel free to. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great weekend or day. Okay.